Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners.
Goldylocks Productions presents the Inspiration from Spirit show with your host, Reverend Lea Chapin. The focus and goal for this show is to assist humanity in the awakening of a new level of consciousness that will bring peace to planet Earth.
Welcome, I'm Lea Chapin. It's February 8th, 2021. We are in another month. We're moving fast already. So I am so excited today to share with my lovely friend, Jared Willis. We are going to channel the Essenes. We're going to talk about the Essene community. For those of you who may not know who the Essenes are, they are a religious Jewish sect that lived in the Romea, Judea area of Israel. They separated from the other Jewish sect and moved into the wilderness and established their own community, living in harmony and balance with nature. Many of us understand ourselves to be old Essenes, that we are reawakening to that remembrance of our life as we lived in harmony and balance as the Essene members. Some of you may also know and be familiar with Dolores Cannon's book, They Walked with Jesus. That may be a familiar title to you, as well as Jesus and the Essenes by Dolores Cannon. But today what we're going to do, we're going to talk a little bit about the Essenes and how they lived, and I'm going to be channeling that information because back in September of 2018, with the help of my dear friend Jared Willis, we went to Jordan at the Dead Sea. We were there on a sacred journey for a month. We went to several countries, went to Egypt, we went to Jordan, we went to Cyprus. I was in Kuwait. Where else did we go, Jared? We went to Turkey and India, but that was on a separate journey. But we went to Jordan at the Dead Sea. When I got there, what I heard was that we have been waiting for you. The Essenes were directly behind us at the hotel across from the Dead Sea. And so I heard them say, we've been waiting for you. So now it is February of 21. And so I'm not sure what the delay has been. They said they were waiting for me, but now it's time to bring their messages forward. And with the help of Jared, we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to put this information both in an audiobook as well as a printed form. And so we're going to be working for the next 12 weeks, bringing the messages of the Essene forward. So I'm really excited. So thank you, Jared, for taking me to Jordan and being the catalyst for all of this. So welcome to the show, Jared.
Well, thanks for having me on again, Lee, and it's good to be with you and with your devoted listening audience. And I've been excited all day. This is a really interesting topic and something that I've been thinking about for years. Obviously, catalyzed by our trip to Jordan, and it's relevant to sort of where I'm at in my life and what it is that looking to do next. I'm in this big transition and trying to understand how to integrate this, and it keeps popping up in your work and other people's work. So I think it's time that we ask them the questions and get the information out there.
Fabulous. But let's tell them a little bit about your background, honey, as a consultant, and how you have an interest also in working with the peace movement in Israel. Can you just tell them a little bit about your background, about what you did before?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've always had a connection to the Middle East. I mean, we've never actually channeled on it, but obviously I have many past lives in the Middle East, and I'm connected to the region and also people that have incarnated in the Middle East over centuries. And as a teenager, I was involved in the Middle East through a summer camp, a peace summer camp called Seeds of Peace. And then after I graduated from university, I moved to Israel for a few years and worked with that peace movement, and traveled all over the country and all over the neighboring countries, and both getting to know the people and also the history of the land. And I then went back to the United States, but continued my work as a consultant with the Middle East. And then started again to travel again to the Middle East about 10 years ago when I started working in Kuwait as a consultant. And I lived there for the last 5 years, working with the government and with some of the businesses. So obviously, I personally have a strong affinity and a strong connection to the region and to the people. And I mean, we could go on, and from our personal work on it, and you've been to the Middle East a few times and seen how I integrate here. And so it's obviously been an important part of my life. And I feel some dedication and some mission to, I don't want to say to help, but I'd say to put my energy and to put my life, sort of cast my die with the people here and live my life here to some extent, and try and make a positive contribution here.
Well, thank you, honey. We also know that we've been told that we both lived in the time of Jesus and that we had a strong connection to the Holy Family with Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And so I know that Spirit has guided us together and that we have a sacred contract to work together because of our connection, with the Holy Family and with Jesus and Mary Magdalene, so that we both have that same interest in working with the energy of the Essenes, because we were a part of that Essene community. We were told that through our channeled messages. And so I know that this has really sparked a lot of excitement for you. And I feel really excited about it too, that, that day you may talk a little bit about, what we were doing over there with our sacred journeys if you want to, but that day that we were in Jordan. And so I just remember sitting there in the hotel and with the Dead Sea behind us, and there was a sunset, and just hearing that we've been waiting for you. It was just like so magical to be able to make that connection, because I channel many, many beings, but I'd never channeled the Essene community. And, we both know that we're a part of that community from our previous incarnation. So for me, that was really exciting. Is there anything you want to share about that moment? Because before we start on this.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's interesting. When I did live in Israel, my favorite place there, where I lived for the most of my time, and I would have lived there, I would have kept living there if it weren't for work, was in Haifa on the Carmel Mountain, which is where the Essene community was based. And I used to go hiking there in the mountain. And I knew that there was I guess I didn't know about the Essenes, but I knew that there was the School of Prophets that's referred to in the Bible, which was a predecessor to the Essene community. And Elijah. I knew that the important things had taken there, but of all the places in the country, I was drawn there, and also to the Dead Sea, where I had taken hikes where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, and then when we visited in 2018, and I remember, I think you'd asked me where was Mount. At some point, you said, "Where's Mount Carmel? Where is that close to here? Where is that?" And so we started talking about it. And I can, just to jump forward, when you channeled the Essenes, it was a few weeks ago, and sort of said they're back and it's time to work with them. I can't tell you how excited I was, because I have always felt since we met that it's a part of my mission to help get, whether it's as a conductor or as someone, a prompter, just to help you so that you can focus your energy on channeling, and I can help you direct the questions and then organize and get the information out there, whether it's for now or for 50 years when people find it. I've always felt that's I feel strongly for that. Even before I met you, I was very drawn to Edgar Casey and his material, and Paul Solomon and some of the other channels. Some are well known, some are not well known. And so ever since I first met you, even though it was for personal reasons, I felt that there was sort of broader information and a broader mission that we had. So when you said that we're going to do this work, I've been excited all day. I've been really excited about it.
Oh, good. I know.
If I can add one more thing, what was weird, I don't know if you remember this, but in 2018 when we were at the Dead Sea, and when you heard the Essenes say that they've been waiting for you, I also had a weird. Something happened that morning. If you remember, I think I woke up early and I saw this very bright light across where the village where the Essenes lived, Qumran. I saw this very strange, inexplicable light, and it wasn't a strobe light, it wasn't a military light, it wasn't. And then I asked you about it later, and I think you said that it was a Pleiades starship or something. I'm trying to remember. Do you remember that?
I do, because I woke up, I think it was at 5 o'clock in the morning, and something woke me up. And I went to look out over the water, and I saw this light, and I heard the Pleiadians were here. And then you told me later, but I thought that morning, this light.
Yeah.
So it's the Pleiadian starship that have a direct influence, because as we know, or I know, many may not know, but the Pleiadians are here to bring harmony and balance back to our planet. And really, that's what the Essenes, that's how they lived. And I know that you have such interest in establishing a communal living, or establishing a community there now that you're in Oman. You want to touch a bit about that before we start on our questions, hon?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's something that's been on on my mind, and my business partner here, he's very passionate about hotels, and we've sort of always thought that the pinnacle of our work together would be establishing some sort of hospitality project, but we didn't want it to be just a hotel, and we didn't want it to be some treatment center, but we felt that there should be some, just like our lives has been a progression of getting in touch with your true self, your true mission, and also nature, getting in touch with the natural food, getting in touch with natural surroundings, being in nature, the impact of art, the impact of music, all of these things that are. And then as you understand more what the Essene community was like, and some of the ancient schools, the ancient mystery schools, the School of Prophets, the Temple Beautiful, all these other institutions. So we have this sort of strong feeling that we're supposed to be establishing, whether it's some sort of community or some sort of hospitality project where people can come and experience these things and reconnect with their true selves, and that the community would be a model for how people are supposed to live in a microcosm, whether it be this sounds maybe like a commune, but some sort of bartering economy rather than a manipulative money system like we have now. Using the things that are in your vicinity rather than flying things from halfway across the world because it seems exotic, not taking more than you need, having a balanced day, some of these things. So, for me, there's a very personal interest in hearing more about the Essenes, because with all the material that's out there, which I've gobbled up, there's only bits and pieces about how they actually lived. How do they govern themselves? I mean, they obviously had a mission, which was to support Jesus and coming into the planet, and Mary, and giving birth to him and supporting him. And then your work about after the crucifixion. And obviously there's parallels with now and the second coming of Christ consciousness in us. So, we've gone through these strange, personal and large world transitions in the last few years. And so very interested in what the next chapter holds.
I know you have lots of questions for me. So what we're going to do, for those who are waiting with bated breath here, Jared's going to ask me some questions. Then I'm going to go into my channeled mode and then answer the questions. So hopefully they'll be succinct, but one never knows what's going to come out of my mouth. But are you ready with your questions, son? Do you have several questions, or what's?
Sure, I can. We can do this for 3 hours if you want. But
well, we'll be doing it tomorrow. So.
All right, that's good. Do you want to do an introduction first, or do you want me to ask an introductory question?
Well, you can ask for the Essenes to step forward. We'll ask for the Essenes to step forward. I'll do a prayer, and then they can want to identify who they are. That's one of the first questions that I have is like, who are the Essenes? Basically, what is their philosophy? What was their purpose? Why are they coming now? What is it what do they want from me? What do you want from me? So that's what I want. And then I don't know whatever your questions are, but that was the first thing that I wanted to tap into. So
sounds good.
Why are you here now? What do you want from me?
People want your help. That's why. That's usually what it is.
That's right. I don't want a piece of it. So, all right, I'm going to start a prayer, and then I'll make my connection here. So, Father, Mother God, we ask at this time to bring the highest information in for all of our soul growth, as we invite the beautiful energy of the Essene community, as we begin to now receive and hear their voices as they are ready to be seen, heard, and recognized for the truth of who they are. without hiding, without wearing, as they say, the veil of forgetfulness, so they may return back to the true essence and bring their light, their love, and their words forward. And this we give our grace as we welcome them. And so it is. Greetings, dear one. We are the collective group of the Essenes. We come to explain to you briefly that we come now because it is time. It is time for, as you say, that new earth has begun. When we lived during the time of Jesus, we believed in what we call a new way of being, a new way of living. We were not happy with what we call the religious order, nor of the politics of the day. And so we, as they say, separated ourselves from the mainstream of our own community and moved into a community and into the wilderness, establishing our own religious beliefs, establishing our own rules of governing. And we begin to live in harmony and balance with nature, where we began to feel this sense of peace, where we were not, as they say, distracted by the energies and the frequencies of those who were governing and those who held beliefs that were not of pure love and of pure light. We do not say that we had all of the answers, but we were in need of bringing balance into our lives. And we chose this way of living, as many understand that we were somehow rebels, but we were not rebels. We simply were living in balance and harmony with our own I am presence. This philosophy, this belief is now being held within the consciousness of many souls. And so many of you who are listening or will be listening will find your way and understanding that you feel connected as a member of the Essene community, living in conjunction and harmony with all of life. This is why we are coming now to help all of you to find the way, as they say, for this was the teachings of our beloved Messiah, Christ, and we are here to help each of you, if you so choose, to find your way back to balance, peace, harmony, and love, living in oneness with all of life. And we thank you. So, questions, my dear friend?
Well, sure. I mean, you asked why are the Essenes, why are they coming forward now, both, in a general sense to the world, and why did they approach you, 2 years ago, and why are they approaching you now? What is the reason behind that?
It is simply time, because many may understand that there is a new vibration upon your earth plane. Many of your listeners may understand about what is called about the ascension process and how the earth has risen from a lower vibrational frequency of the old patriarchal rule and control. You are in the last legs of, they say, of the control and the bondage of the human species on this earth plane. We are coming now simply because the energy, as many understand, of this new earth rising, a new way of living in balance, living from a compassionate and merciful heart. This is the time of the sacred feminine. This is the time of the merging of the sacred alchemy of the energy of the sacred feminine, and now assisting and helping the energy of the sacred masculine to come into union so that all can return back into sacred balance with their I am presence. We come now because it is time. The vibration upon the planet has shifted, and we are ready to help uplift and share with others our life, and to help awaken all the Essenes that are ready to be awakened and to remember their divine power so they too can live in balance. This time period is of great importance for for the next 1,000 years is a time of pivotal change for the human species, and we are here to be guides and mentors. We have come to Lea because she has been chosen as an oracle to bring our words and messages forward. She has been dedicated and committed to us and to the understanding of the way. Not only has she lived with us during the time of Jesus, but she has continued on as a divine oracle in many orders other than our own as an Essene. But because of her affiliation with the one known as Jesus of Nazareth, she was and continues to be a pure channel of light, bringing the energy of the Heart Mother forward so others can open their heart to receive and return back to sacred balance. So they're saying, does it answer your question?
Yeah. Can the Essenes explain more? They were here in their day to bring about the coming of Jesus, and then when he was crucified and ascended, they dispersed. Why? What are the parallels with today? Why were they gone for 2,000 years, and what is the parallels today with the second coming of Jesus? That's the question.
At the time when we dispersed, we were in fear of our lives, and we were afraid because of our association with him. We were afraid that what we spoke would cause us to be persecuted. You see, those times were very violent, and we had no level of protection. Many of us dispersed further into the Middle East and into France, into Spain, and into the region of United Kingdom. There are many descendants, as they say, dispersed all over the world. And now, as your earth is going through what we call this purification, where the earth is shifting from a lower vibration of patriarchal rule and control, just as in our time, people have access to more freedom in many ways through this avenue of your internet, where people can connect and listen freely, in some ways without censorship, and not be persecuted. However, there are other forms of persecution that are happening subtly with mind control of your human population. We come to now to set the record straight that this soon will be over, and what you know is your masking of your voices is very similar to what we went through. We had to be we were suppressed. We did not have to be suppressed, but we were suppressed by our own fear. We now come to help people to no longer be suppressed by fear, to not come forward with anger, but to come forward with love, to share what they know as their truth with love, not out of rebellion, not out of anger, not out of resentment, but simply understanding that this is a time to bring the balance and to bring the harmony once again. You see, you're moving into a new period. You have moved into what is called the age of Aquarius. The age of the Pisces has ended, and you've moved into the age of Aquarius, the time now where living from the heart and living from your own true voice can be recognized without fear or persecution. Does that answer?
Yeah, it does. Can the Essenes tell us more about what their what their community looked like. Did it look like a commune? Like today's communes where people, share they all make their own food and they share all their meals and they share share so many aspects of their life. Was there a religious or a prayer component? Was there how did they provide for the material goods they needed, but that they didn't make in the community? Um, what did that community look like? How did it operate?
We came together, yes, very much like you might call a community or a commune of individuals, but we had our own individual quarters. We all had our own gifts and talents, our own specialties, and we all helped each other. No one was left without the help of another. If someone needed help with building a home, or we called it a hut in many ways, then we all came together to build living quarters, shelter. There were others who were skilled with what you call hunting and also tending to the food supply, and others who were the seamstresses. And so we all came together and we worked and we provided for each other. We also were able to manifest, and we were able to tap in to the energy of manifestation and co-creation. And so when we needed something, we were able to instantly manifest it. We did not always know how we were going to make it happen, but somehow it just seemed to manifest. If we needed to manifest what we say water, then miraculously, somehow there seemed to be more water than we needed. If there needed to be a source of food supply, we simply called this forth in prayer. We sat in sacred union and called forth these manifestations actually from the Earth Mother. And so we called forth the energy of co-creation with Divine Mother Earth, and she supplied our needs. We lived very simply, but we lived, as they say, very richly. And so we did not have more than plenty, but we had all of our needs provided, and there was no level of separation, for each of us helped. If you had something that I needed, another member would provide it, and I would provide what I needed for the other member. And so it goes, as they say, that it was again a system of equality, and no one was left behind, where people today live isolated and live and work and stew and have to use their time and their energy to provide all of their needs, from food to clothing to housing to what you call your health insurance to paying taxes. Therefore, you see, this is out of balance, that this has caused the stress and the separation from your own true self and from the God essence. This will soon change in due time. Did I answer your question? Because when I get off on this,
You did. I have a follow-up question.
What?
I have a follow-up question.
Okay. Did I answer it?
How did the community run its affairs? Did it have like a council or of elders? Did it have a president or a mayor? How did it come together and make decisions about the community? How were disputes resolved, if there were any disputes? And what was the religion? These were Jews on some level. They had separated themselves from the mainstream Jewish religion, but did they pray every day? How was their, did they have yoga? Did they have meditation? What was their spiritual component of their day like?
As to our governing board, we had, as they say, a governing board. And this was a board both made out of men and women. And if there was a dispute or a reason for decision making, then we went to the board. This was not a board that held terms, but it was very much a governing board, and there were checks and balances, as they say. If there seemed to be opposition, then it was always, as they say, a majority rule, and no one could dominate or control, but it was always for the good of others. We came together in prayer and always prayed to the source of Great Spirit that supplied all of our needs. We worked with the energy, as we said, of Mother Earth, and worked with the energy of the 4 elements and of the nature spirits. We solved disagreements, as they say, peacefully, and many did not become, as they say, angry or out of joint. We accepted the governing rule. Suggestions, ideas, new inspirations were always considered, as they say, as we prayed for the highest good for the community. Everything was, as they say, for the highest good of all concerned. No one was left behind, and so everyone felt heard and recognized. We're going to stop there. So if you want to continue on in that vein with their governing board.
No, I had a question that's maybe more coming to today. I mean, how are we supposed to emulate the life of the Essenes in today's world? I think a lot of us feel, very disconnected from our surroundings because the political system, like in their day, is unfamiliar to us, and the stresses of the daily life. But on the balancing side, we have the internet, which is allowing us to connect today from halfway across the world, which they didn't have. So are we all intended to establish similar communities where we share our, personal needs and provide for it? Or are we supposed to, try and find a way in this globalized but unfriendly world and stay connected virtually through people, even though it's spiritual support or moral support, but not necessarily, people are still isolated in their homes, even if they have internet. I mean, you're still having to provide for all of your needs. So just some guidance about what the ideal is that we should be holding for our own lives and what we should be building towards.
We first say, we ask that you pray for harmony and balance in your life and in all things. That you begin to live respectfully and honor yourself, honor those that you live with, honor the earth, honor all of life. As one begins to move into this sense of honor and respect, then, as we say, the energy will unfold for manifestations to occur. This may sound simplistic, but as you live in balance, all will, as they say, fall into your lap. Your resources will be provided for. Money will come instantaneously. You will have all that you need. For in this time of separation, as they say, of people being quarantined, it is important that people now begin to turn within and begin to share all that they are able to share freely. Their ideas, their inspirations, their wisdom, their knowledge, and even their resources to help the common purpose. This is a time that is happening for people to come together to assist. This is the beginning of the changing of what we call me-ism, and the end of what we call the industrial age, so to speak, where capitalism is the driving force. This is about unity. This is about unity consciousness. This is about stepping forward and each person helping another. And so just today, as you have agreed to do this voluntarily to help assist another without payment, without any expectations of anything except to serve, that this energy, this frequency is now a part of your own energetic frequency, and you will receive more and more blessings. Again, as you give, you receive. This concept is somewhat misunderstood, but energetically, as you are offering, you now are able to energetically receive. This is, a sense, a new way. This may not take place instantaneously, but is now happening. It is evolving, it is shifting, and people are coming forward and offering help to those in need, those who do not have work and need food, and people coming together, providing money, resources to others, homes, people using their ideas to help. More people are helping than not are helping at this time. Questions about that?
No, that was good.
Yeah, because I know you probably, well, you probably don't have TV or watch it, but I see it on TV where, more and more people are helping each other. More and more people are helping those who need food. People are making homes for the homeless people. They're making these insular little tubes where homeless people can live in. So you probably see that when you read it on the internet, but we get bits and pieces of this when we see it in the media, but they're telling me that more and more people are reaching out, and this is the time of our heart is opening. And so even with this pandemic and the separation, this is a time where people are reaching out to fellow brothers and sisters. So this pandemic has a purpose because it's opening people's heart and people are helping each other more. So this is how we're slowly moving and shifting out of way of capitalism and the meism that we've been in uh, since the industrial age start, where we had progress, but it was all about what we could build and create. And now it's about creating community again, and creating hope again, and creating compassion again, and living from the heart. These simple principles that the Essenes said that they lived in, the simple way of living. So this is how people will change, one person at a time, each shift. So that's why the Essenes are coming. And for those who wish to listen, they're saying, offer what you can. Don't be afraid to offer what you can. Just as you, Jared, are offering, you've discovered your date or coffee business, and you're offering that, as an alternative to caffeine. You're offering this opportunity to start a spiritual community. So we're all being inspired and working in new ways to create and manifest and to help. This is, again, how we will change the world. That's how they lived, they said, in their small community. It was a um, um, uh, a microcosm. How do you say it? A microcosmism of the macro. Like they were holding the bigger picture of the universe within their own sect and their own community. And so we've gotten away from it, but now they're coming back to say, hey, return back and help your brother and sister. Help yourself first, in the sense of tending to the pieces within you that don't feel whole, because this is a time of clearing out that which no longer serves you, purifying energies that are not of pure love, and then moving forward with the inspiration and the grace that God has gifted you with, your own divine gifts and talents. And they're saying that's how we lived. We all offered and shared. And it very much is like the way the Telosians live in Talos underground, the Mount Shasta, where they live in harmony and balance. Everything is for the greater good. This eventually will happen on our surface planet again, but we're in the beginning stages of it. We may not see that in our lifetime, but we're helping to be pioneers and to bring this energy forward. So whatever ideas you have, you're being inspired. The next person ideas and be inspired. Don't be afraid to do it.
That sounds right.
Well, thank you. I keep saying, am I answering your questions? I'm probably going off on a tangent, but
You're doing good.
okay. So as you move forward, the Essenes are saying, as you move forward with this understanding that this is a breaking down of the old system, and there is much that is collapsing. And just as we fell away from the Pharisee rule and we established our own community and sect, we had hiccups, as they say, for life was not always easy. But just as you are now, the structures are breaking down, and the old way of being, the political structures, economic, medical institutions, many institutions are crumbling. Old patriarchal rule and archaic beliefs are crumbling, despite what you see or feel or hear or see in your media. There is a crumbling and a rebirth. This is the rising of the new earth. Again, that's why we are coming now, to help you to understand this and to support you in restructuring this new way of living. Not all will understand, not all will do it, but those whose hearts are open will begin this process of healing. They're showing me like a wound that the earth and its people have been suffering from, like an abscess. And there's been a lot of suffering and a lot of pain. And now they're stepping forward, along with the Palladians and many of the other galactic star beings of light, many of the masters that are stepping forward to begin to heal these wounds that humanity has suffered from. So they're saying they're excited to share their knowledge, their wisdom, their way of being, to help assist your current civilization to be at peace. So
It's a beautiful message.
It's a process. So, and if you don't get impatient, we just do our part. Each one teach one, each one lead one. Just as, well, I'll let you talk about this, Jared. You took me on all those sacred journey sites because we wanted to help people to tap into the energies of these sites. I don't know if you want to share that or not, but they're showing me that that's our part of what we're doing to try to help awaken people. And the Essenes are saying that has worked. So your idea of doing this, you want to share a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, it grew up organically when we first met in Ireland, and we thought, well, let's film some of the trip and see if you can channel in some of these sacred sites there and see what comes out. And then we got the idea to continue it in some of these other places. Even the trip that we took where we went to the pyramids, it just sort of unfolded very organically. We didn't really have a plan, but then as we went about it, it sort of made sense why we were doing what we were doing. And at first, if you remember, we thought, our mission is to organize these trips like other people have done and bring groups on these sacred trips. And then very quickly we realized it's really not about physically visiting these places. People can visit them etherically, even from YouTube. And the idea was just to activate the energy or bring forward the message, and people can receive that information and that vibration wherever they're at. And so it was sort of a discovery for us. Obviously, it's been a little bit interrupted because we haven't been able to go anywhere. But I think that it'll come back, and we have some other ideas of places and things that we wanted to do to try and share the message and spread the vibration. And just, I think anything just to trigger. I mean, I think everyone gets focused on accomplishing something, and like you said, the capitalist age, with the scenes mentioned, the capitalist age, and accomplishing and building and inventing and doing and taking and achieving, and the new age is more about being. and living in joy, living in the moment, being grateful, being appreciative of what we have in front of us and what this earth is that we live on and what existence is. So trying to be in that state of being now.
Yeah, and that's how they lived. And so this, what's happening now is what they're showing me is there's a new earth. This again, I've already said this, but we're in this pandemic, but it's shifting the way we've lived. And so it's forcing us to move out of the old way of being. People are working from home, and yet that's also helping with people to be less stressed in some ways, because they don't have to get in their car and drive to work for 2 hours. It's also saving on gas. It's helping the environment with pollution, and we know that animals and nature is benefiting from the fact that we're not getting in our cars and all the carbon emissions. And so there's a lot of good that's happening despite. So if we can take a look at my battery's going low. If we can take a look at the benefits of these changes, instead of being fearful so much of what perhaps what we thought we've lost, or what is not the same. And so this is exactly what the Essenes were saying, that they'd left their community, they'd left their comfort of their homes to move into the wilderness, into the unknown, to establish their own community. And this was of great value to them because they were able to tap into their own inner knowingness, tap into nature. And so we're at that pivotal point again of getting out of our comfort zone and really turning within and being able to find the resources, like we said, within us. Just like they said, they were able to manifest and create. And so as we tap in to our innate wisdom, into our God presence, just as the Essenes did, we're able to create and manifest what we need. They're showing me like a snap of a finger, as long as we stay balanced in harmony with the energy of Mother Earth. So you have your idea of the spiritual community. I think that's exactly what you're talking about. But we were when we did those sacred journey sites, we were definitely out of our comfort zone. It was out of my comfort zone for me to go to other countries. I wasn't well traveled by any means, shape, or form, and especially to go to the Middle East and do that work, not knowing exactly what I was doing. And I didn't feel fearful, and I felt empowered. And I remember when we got out of the pyramid and we finished our work that last day in Egypt, and we didn't really know exactly what all had happened, but we knew it was powerful. We had completed what we came to do. And I remember we walked back to the hotel, and you took my hand and grabbed my hand, and it was so sweet. It was so touching. You just took my hand, and I just knew that, we both felt really satisfied, that we had done what we were supposed to do. We'd been called to do it. And, I'm just really grateful for you for that opportunity. So thank you.
Well, I'm grateful. We have to do it again. That was fun. Then we got drunk. We could tell your audience. Then we got drunk.
Yeah. Right. We had lunch. That's what we had. We had lunch and we laughed. We had lunch. And you said I was something about really happy, or never seen me so happy.
Yeah, you were manic.
I was manic. Yeah, I was excited. It was happy. But back to the point of the Essenes, it's like, they went into the wilderness and did what they were called to do. And so, in our sacred journeys, we were called to do this, just like we're doing this today. It's like, okay, what is this about? Why are we bringing the information of the Essenes again? Because it's time to shake us up, to get out of our comfort zone, and to hear and speak our truth as we know it. Years and years, well, it'd be almost 28 years ago, I started channeling. And I was, hesitant to let people know that I channel the Holy Family, or even if I channeled. And now I don't have any concern about that. I've had more positive feedback from people from the work I brought forward. So if we can really now understand that we can live on our truth, just like the Essenes did, that we will all be better off, as a whole, as a collective. So.
Let me ask you a question that's maybe is relevant to your audience, but it's in some ways more personal to me, which is sort of a lot of us are struggling. We feel more connected than ever because of the internet. But for example, I haven't seen you in almost 2 years, and
I know.
there's sometimes the 3D world. When you try and get things done, even going to the grocery store or paying your bills online or dealing with. I mean, we have social media, we have these ways to connect, but the people that we maybe our neighbors are really difficult, or our landlords or our bosses, the people that we deal with in our 3D everyday life. So like I said, that's something that I've been struggling with, is whether we're sort of supposed to be the light within the everyday community and try and fight our way through, I hate to use that word, but sort of manage our way through the challenges in some ways which are getting more difficult even in a time like COVID, or if we're supposed to find these like-minded people through the internet and try and find a way to to be in some sort of barter system or some sort of common living where we're helping each other through some of life's daily challenges.
Well, every Monday morning I channel Mary Magdalene, as you're a part of that. And so I've probably been doing that for at least 15 years. I've lost track of time. And that small group or small community is very supportive. And so it's very valuable for others to be able to connect with like-minded people. And we're all over the place. You're in Oman, and I'm here in Florida, and we got someone in Gibraltar, and someone in Kentucky, and the power of connecting. And again, these scenes are telling me connecting from the heart and really not allowing yourself to be distracted by the external, to become a detached observer to what is happening, and to always live from the heart, despite what you may see, feel, sense outside of you. As you are living from the heart, then there's that place of peace and balance, and then you're not caught off balance so much. And so hopefully I'm answering your question, but that's what they're showing me, that if you find that community where you can be supported to help each other, because each one teach one, each one lead one, and also to realize that you are much more powerful than you can imagine yourself to be. And if you stay in that centered place and realize that there's a higher purpose for all things, and there's a reason for all things, and that there is a silver lining in the midst of chaos, you're not going to get caught up in the drama. You're going to rise above this. This is a part of this shift from 3D to 5D, and moving away from the Essenes are calling it self-centeredness, and moving away into understanding that there is everything is for the greater good. Everything is always for the greater good. We're not really taught that, I think, in many ways. Like, I wasn't raised, probably you weren't raised that way, to understand that there's a reason for all things, or be connected, that we're all connected, there's a higher purpose. But when we find people like each other, we can help each other. That's a part of what my job is, to, in some ways, to be a cheerleader. And I have the access to the ascended beings and to the Essenes who bring that information through me, because I learned so much, and it's really shifted and changed my life so much. I still get caught up in some level of my own negativity and thought forms, but I know the difference, when it happens. So if you can rise above it and know that there's a higher purpose and higher reason, that's how the Essenes lived. Even during their time, when things were difficult around them, they still lived what they're showing me in that peaceful place. Were they not affected to some degree? Yes, but they rose above it. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have about 5 minutes left, honey. Was there something else that you wanted to share before we finished up here? Just give me your feedback, maybe give your feedback about the information today, in the next minute or so.
Well, I think it's I mean, I think it's really helpful. And I mean, I'm so grateful to these scenes to come forward, and it's really an honor to work with their energy with you and through you. I feel, like I said, I felt this strong, warm connection and excitement about today. And just ever since you brought up again that we'd be working with them, and, just express my commitment to helping get the message out as best in written form or on YouTube or whatever way we can. I just pray that we're guided to ask the questions that, that will solicit or elicit the right information that they want to get out there. And like I said, for some, for me personally, it sometimes is daunting, because in many ways you try and take on the responsibility of the master of the universe and think, well, I'm not doing enough, or what more can I do, or what, we know the ideal that we're supposed to hold, but sometimes it feels like we're so far behind that. And it's nice to be reminded, not in being patted on the head, but that it's the little things, it's how you hold your thoughts, it's how you act in the small moments of the day, how you keep yourself from going off the deep end or pull yourself back from the brink, or how you just interact with the everyday people and try and raise the vibration of this planet a little bit just by smiling or making a joke or being nice to someone, and looking for ways to help out and live in that new paradigm. So it's just helpful to hear that, those words of encouragement, and to know that it's been done before on this earth, and even in worse times in some ways. I mean, in some ways we have it easy. I mean, I can't imagine doing this 2,000 years ago when it wasn't much more bloody. I mean, there's a lot of violence now, and a lot of selfishness and greed and patriarchy, but it was worse 2,000 years ago, and they didn't have technology. And so it's good to know that there were examples, even though history has snuffed them out in some ways, or other communities like that, whether it was the Native Americans or other communities that lived in balance with each other and with nature, or they've been painted in the wrong way. I mean, even the Essenes were painted in mainstream history. They were painted as sort of zealots and military zealots, or just religious zealots. And so it's good to hear the record set straight and know that there is a precedence, and we can be inspired by the example.
Yeah, they were gentle, loving beings that were just trying to live in their own truth. And I know that many of us feel that some of our truth is being stripped away, or our rights are being stripped away. And yet let's just turn within, do what we can, hold the peace, be the change you wish to see. And that's all we can really do, is just do our piece of the puzzle. And as I say, manage your own store. Take care of your own business, manage your own store. So I try not to get caught up in too much. I'm aware of what's going on, but I don't try to allow myself to get too terribly caught up in it, because I have no purpose. I got business to attend to. So thank you, my dear friend Jared. I love you as always. You look great.
Thank you, Lea.
Dapper as always. I miss you. I love you. And thank you for being a part of the show today. And I don't know, I'm grateful for you, for everything you've done for me. So you're my boy. He's my spiritual son. I've adopted him.
You're my spiritual mother. Thank you. The original reason we met was so you could save me from a bad marriage, but it's become so much more since then. And I'm ever grateful to work with you and to be with you. And I miss you. And I think we have more adventures coming up soon. So
yeah, we do. Make me cry. I miss you too, sweetie. All right.
Aww.
I love you. Thank you.
Love
honey.
you too. Thanks everyone for listening. Sorry for the mushy love fest.
I know, we're like too much. Oh well, can't help it. Mother loves her son. Bye, honey. Have a good day. All right,
Thank you.
Become a Goldylocks Productions VIP patron. Receive exclusive access to live stream special and other epic perks. Join the Goldylocks Productions VIP community today.